In this video, we're going to learn to calculate the standard deviation and variance of a set of data. And if you'll notice, this is the same set of data that we used prior, except that I have removed the median and the mode and added two new words down at the bottom. I've added variance and standard deviation. And notice that I have taken and added three column headings up here at the top, and I have put the mean in this column. Okay, then in this column, what I'm going to do is I want to calculate what the number is, what each of these numbers is when I subtract the mean from it. So I want to get a value for the difference. So to do that, I'm going to click on the toolbar or click here, either one, and I'm going to hit the equals button. And then I'm going to take my cursor and click on that box because I'm going to take that number. Then I'm going to type the minus key, and then I'm going to click the mean box and hit enter. So the value of 100 minus 73.1 is 26.9. And up here, it's actually B2 minus C2. Now, if I drag this down, it says B3 minus C3. So I have B3 minus C3. And if I drag it down again, I have B4 minus C4, B5 minus C5, and so forth. So I'm going to drag this down. Now watch the difference here. See, it's a big plus sign, kind of like the red cross symbol here. And when I go to the corner where the little black square is, that big cross sign turns into a small plus. And that's when I'm going to grab and hold the mouse down and drag it down and then just let up on the mouse. And what it does is the computer has subtracted n minus the mean all the way down through here. Now notice this. When you get down to this point right here, this is saying, all right, this number is 74, this one's 73.1. It's above the mean. Now the next number is below the mean, so if I take the number and subtract the mean, it's going to give me a negative number, which makes it larger. Makes the mean larger. All right, now what I want to do is I need to eliminate. I'm trying to find and look at a comparison of how far all these numbers are from the mean somehow. So I want to eliminate the positives and negatives, because when I look at it, a number that is 23.1 below the mean would be the same thing as a number that's 23.1 above the mean if I'm talking about how far it is from the mean in general. So what I want to do now is I want to take this column and I want to square it. So to do that, I'm going to hit the equals button. Now I can type in this and then hit the squared button, but on the computer there is a symbol called the caret, the C-A-R-E-T. And the caret looks like a little housetop, and it's above the number 6 on your computer. So I'm going to say it equals, and then I'm going to click what it equals, and then I'm going to type that symbol by hitting the shift key and the number 6, which gives me that little housetop, and 2. That says take whatever D2 is and raise it to the second power. If I put a 3 there, it would be raising it to the third power. Now I hit enter, and of course that goes away. Now I need these little number signs that come in here tell me that my number is too big to show. Now why does it give me that big number when this is all I have? It does that because the computer uses the actual number that we have here. When you go down here, that average, remember, had several decimal places. So the squared of that several decimal place number gives me several more decimal places. So before I do anything, I'm going to make this number smaller. So I go back up here and decrease decimal, and I just keep clicking it, and I'm going to stop with thousandths place this time. Now, I'm going to drag this down, and notice what it does. It takes D4 raised to the second power and so forth, all the way down the list. Now, so what I've done is I have my number, I have the mean, I subtract them, and then I square it. Okay, that's the first steps in order to calculate the standard deviation and variance. Now, this is the cool thing. Okay, it's cool because to find the variance now, what we wanted to do is that's the first step in finding the standard deviation. So if we take the variance and then we find the mean of these numbers, in other words, we're going to sum this, add them all up, and so we're going to find the mean of this column, okay? And this is going to be what our variance is. So all I have to do, and now I'm not looking for variance formula because all I want to do is find the mean of that. So I'm going to sum it and divide it by the number, but remember my computer can do that. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to find the average of that, which is this. Now this number right here represents the variance. In other words, the mean of all of these n minus mean squares. Okay? Now, if I take the square root of that number, okay, I will get the standard deviation, which is the square root of variance. Okay, and I'm going to make that bigger by clicking there. All right, so the standard deviation then is the square root of this. So to square, remember, what did we do when we were doing this, when we were going over here? Rather right here, we did housetop 2. So if we did housetop 1/2, that would mean taking the square root of it, because you can write the square root as 1/2 to the 1/2 power. The cube root is to the 1/3 power. So that's what I'm going to do. The standard deviation then is equal to this raised to the housetop raised to the 0.5 power. Now 0.5 is the same thing as a half. So my standard deviation again is a big long number, and I'm going to eliminate some of those decimal places and stop it back to thousandths. So the standard deviation is 22.872. Now we've calculated that by hand, even though we've used the computer, because we actually found the standard deviation of everything and went through all the steps so that you could see everything.